When you find Joe Griffith at all, you're likely to find him in motion.
I talk in about 45 states a year. Yeah, sometimes 10 times in one state, sometimes once in a state. But
do you know how many days you're on the road?
I don't want to figure it out.
Oh, come on.
If I figure it out, I may quit this. No, it's really not as much, because when you take your plane, like if I'm going to Kansas to make a talk tonight, I would leave the house about 3 o'clock. I'd get my plane, I'd be up there by 6. The banquet starts at 7, I'd be home by midnight. I turn around.
You don't mess around, do you?
No, I turn around and come back right after it. Mainly because the next morning I may have a speech here in Dallas.
And he's almost always doing what he does best, being funny.
What happens if you lose your luggage on this?
I don't ever check luggage.
Never?
Never check luggage. That's the first rule of being an American. Pay taxes and do not check luggage.
I'll tell you something, driving over here from the airport, I saw a great slogan on the side of a plumber's truck. Said, in our business, a flush beats a full house. People will stand in line to do business with you if you make them feel good. That's why we got so many massage parlors.
When he lights in any single spot for more than a couple of days, it's likely to be Dallas. His home is here, though he doesn't see much of it. As one of the country's most successful after-dinner speakers, he's on the road almost every day of the week.
Will Rogers said, I don't make up jokes, I just read the paper. And that's true today, just like it was back then. Johnny Carson is no funnier than the newspaper, because he does strictly topical humor on TV. The days that he bombs, there's nothing going on to make fun of that day. He can't help that. But if there's something going on, the Woody Hayes, the Billy Carter, those kind of things, if they're in the news and things are popping, he can be the most hilarious man on television. Yeah, I think we can make that. We're going to be in Columbus, Ohio the night before, and I've got all day to get there. So, yeah, I'll tell him we can do that. And you've got that name of the fellow that lives in Miami that wanted to hire me the next time I was down there. So tell him I'm going to be on the 9th and see if he can make his meeting on the 10th, and we'll pick up 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay. Thank you. On Monday, I was in San Francisco for a noon talk, and then on Tuesday, I was in Columbus, Ohio, and on Wednesday, I worked in another talk at Cleveland. And on Thursday night,
Joe Griffith can play to almost any audience because he stays away from off-color humor.
I will not offend anybody. Anywhere I go, it was a personal decision that I made in my life before I started doing this, that I wanted to do it so that I could be proud of it if my father came, my mother came, my grandmother, my pastor at my church. I didn't care who was there. I could do the same material I do anywhere else. Now, I've gone to stag groups at conventions, and they say, hey, you know, you can kind of loosen things up, and you can say anything. This crowd can handle anything. But I do the same thing that I do everywhere, because that's another reason why I'm so successful, is that I am clean, and my standards have paid off for me.
And when humor is your trade, you organize it much the way you would any other business enterprise. Joe has 3 basic speeches, keeps a record of which is delivered where, so he'll have fresh material when he's asked to return. And of course, those 3 basic speeches change constantly.
Now, I didn't do that, and I didn't do that, but I did something else here, so I'll write this in. My material is always updating, being improved. I've got one routine that I've been using for about 5 years, and oddly enough, about every 3 months, a new thought comes in that routine. Just why it came that particular day, I don't know. So it gets a little bit better. It gets a little bit longer. I'll change a word here and there. You're constantly improving on your material.
Another key to popularity in this business is learning quickly about the audience and the host. And that's not easy when you're on the road and playing so many different places.
I like to walk in and know what's going on in that town. I like to know who the mayor is, who the Chamber of Commerce president is, and what their problems are. And And
Who tells you all that?
I just know how to find out while I'm eating my meal. People say, do you get bored when you do the same material over and over? Never, because the audience never reacts the same. And I never react to the same audience the same way. So you never get bored. You never know what's going to happen.
Let's welcome the very humorous Joe Griffith.
Thank you very much, Bobby Joe. I appreciate that introduction. I've been introduced by a lot of people, and you're one of them.
Humor is mood. When I go into a room and I get going, the first 5 minutes is the most critical part of my 45-minute talk. Because that gets them. If I get them, I've got them. Because if I know I have a responsive audience, this is something about a comedian. You feed off the audience. The audience makes you good because they turn you on.
I love that story, the lady standing in the cemetery crying. Caretaker walked up to her and said, "What's the matter?" She said, "I can't find him." Said, "You can't find who?" She said, "My husband. We buried him out here the other day, and there was flowers and people all around, and now they're gone, and I don't know where he is." He said, "Lady, don't worry about it. I'm the caretaker. I know where everybody is. What's his name?" She said, "Harry Webster." He said, "No, ma'am. The only Webster we have is a Dorothy Webster." She said, "Everything's in my name. That's him."
Now don't go away. PM departments are next.